Shedeur Sanders stunned the business world by turning down a guaranteed $60 million deal from Gatorade, only to walk away with something far more valuable, a 3% equity stake in Gatorade USA. No NFL rookie has ever done it. Rather than settling for the traditional endorsement model, Sanders opted for real ownership in a multi-billion-dollar company. This wasn't just savvy negotiation. It was a direct challenge to the foundation of athlete brand relationships. And if you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. Behind the move, his father, Deion Sanders, who helped design the prime equity system, rewriting the rules so athletes don't just promote products, they profit from them like board members. Sanders' move marks a hard line between short-term sponsorships and long-term wealth. Instead of accepting cash for commercials, he's building a portfolio that will keep growing while he plays, and long after. Ownership in Gatorade is just one piece of that puzzle, and it's already shaking up the way brands and athletes talk business. Shedeur Sanders just made NFL history, and it has nothing to do with touchdowns. The 144th overall pick in the draft just pulled off the most game-changing move of the year, and maybe the decade, by turning down a guaranteed $60 million Gatorade endorsement deal in exchange for something far more dangerous: equity. Let's be clear. Shedeur didn't just sign a brand deal. He became a co-owner in Gatorade USA, securing a 3% stake that officially makes him a shareholder in one of the most dominant beverage companies on the planet. A fifth-round rookie quarterback who hasn't even played a single regular season snap just leveraged his off-field brand into a boardroom seat. That's not marketing. That's a hostile takeover of the old system. And this wasn't some random flex. This was part of a much bigger strategy called prime equity, a meticulously planned business architecture engineered under the watch of his father, Deion Sanders, a.k.a. Coach Prime. And yeah, this isn't just legacy, it's infrastructure. The three pillars of prime equity: full control of name, image, and likeness. No agents. No licensing middlemen, no league-sanctioned cut-taking, and 100% profit retention. Every deal Shedeur signs goes straight to him. No filters, no fees, no compromises. Now let's talk Nike. Shedeur inked a $125 million contract out the gate, but after one preseason appearance and not a breakout performance, just visibility, his deal doubled to $250 million. The trigger? A clause tied not to touchdowns or yards, but a cultural resonance. Yep, not stats, status. He didn't need to prove himself on the field to prove his value off of it. His cultural capital did all the work. That same power exploded into jersey sales. Before Week 1 even kicked off, Shedeur had moved 375,000 jerseys, more than any other rookie in NFL history. But here's where it gets wild. While most players scrape pennies off merch sales, Shedeur locked in a deal that gives him 50% of the profits. That's not just rare, it's unheard of. Usually there's a whole food chain. The league, the team, the licensing boards, the retailers. By the time the athlete gets paid, there's barely any meat left on the bone. But Shedeur flipped the table. His jersey revenue goes straight from the fans to his bank account, skipping every gatekeeper in between. And it doesn't stop there. He's running a $75 million per year partnership with Brady. Not a flash-in-the-pan endorsement, but a structured, recurring revenue stream. That's the kind of deal companies sign with corporations, not rookies. But in this case, Shedeur is the corporation. He's also locked in with EA Sports and AT&T, not as a spokesperson, but as a co-developer and revenue-sharing partner. These aren't sponsorships. They're business partnerships where Shedeur has real skin in the game. Even his barbecue sauce line, yes, barbecue sauce, is part of a larger strategy. It's not a novelty product. It's a scalable, vertically integrated food and beverage play. He controls the IP, supply chain, formulation, and profit margins. It's embedded into a broader branding ecosystem tied to events, content, and distribution. Most athletes throw their name on something and walk away. Shedeur built the whole thing himself. And here's the kicker. None of these deals are performance-based. Not a single one. They're all anchored in narrative control, cultural relevance, and structural independence. He's not being paid for touchdowns. He's being paid for his presence. Analysts are already projecting him to become the youngest billionaire in NFL history, while still playing. Not after a Hall of Fame career, not with shoe deals and retirement speaking gigs. Now, because this isn't short-term cash grabbing, it's long-term equity accumulation, compounding ownership, and brand sovereignty. And while this is a personal win for Shedeur, it's also a direct challenge to the systems that have dominated sports commerce for decades. For too long, black athletes have powered billion-dollar industries only to be excluded from the wealth they generate. Shedeur's model doesn't just flip the script, it shreds it. He's refusing to let anyone else monetize his image, take a cut of his likeness, or gatekeep his access to ownership. Every move he makes is a rejection of the licensed commodity model that's defined sports for generations, and it's already making waves. Agents are rewriting playbooks. Leagues are scrambling to reassess how they handle image rights. And young athletes? They're watching closely. Because Shedeur just proved that draft position doesn't define your leverage. Your preparation does. Your legal infrastructure does. Your business acumen does. His Nike contract doubling off one preseason appearance? That's not a fluke. That clause was built to reward visibility, narrative velocity, digital impact. Every media moment, every viral clip, every headline turns into money by design. His brand is a living, breathing asset with quantifiable value. The contract just made it official. The Gatorade equity? That's a whole different level. He didn't just trade cash for shares. He traded passive endorsement for strategic partnership. He now has board access, voting rights, and alignment with the company's long-term goals. If Gatorade expands globally, innovates products, or boosts market share, Shedeur's net worth grows with it. He's no longer being paid to hold a bottle. He owns a table where those bottles are priced. And the barbecue sauce? That might be the most poetic of all. It's not about the sauce. It's about the structure. From supply chain to shelf, he controls the operation. No celebrity vanity project here. It's infrastructure. It's ownership. It's vertical integration in a sector most athletes ignore. What makes all of this so dangerous to the old system is that it's sustainable. Every deal feeds into the next. Nike visibility fuels jersey sales. Jersey ubiquity boosts Gatorade equity value. Gatorade's platform amplifies his EA sports relevance. EA reinforces his digital engagement. It's a feedback loop of brand compounding that strengthens his empire from every direction. He's not collecting checks. He's building a machine. And if you're still wondering how a fifth-round pick could do all this before even playing a single regular season game, you're asking the wrong question. The real question is, why hasn't anyone else done this before? The answer is simple. Because the system wasn't built to let them. It was built to extract value, not distribute it. And Shedeur didn't ask for permission. He built his own system. Prime equity isn't just a clever name. It's a counterstrike, a blueprint, a middle finger to decades of economic gatekeeping. This isn't just a career move. It's a structural revolution, a masterclass in how to turn narrative into net worth. And it's already reshaping the future of sports negotiations, brand deals, and athlete empowerment. So whether you're a fan, a hater, or just watching this play out in awe, one thing for sure, this rookie didn't just show up to play. He showed up to own the game. If you're as shocked as we are by how fast Shedeur just changed the entire playbook, drop a comment and let us know what deal impressed you most. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more breakdowns of the wildest power moves and meltdowns in pop culture and sports. Because if this is how Shedeur starts his career, you already know the chaos has only just begun. Oh, we're not done. Not even close. Because once you peel back the jaw-dropping headlines, $250 million Nike deal, Gatorade equity, not endorsement, the deeper story here is how this all happened. And more importantly, why it had to. The entire industry has operated under one basic assumption. That young athletes, especially rookies, need the system more than the system needs them. That you show up, sign whatever they put in front of you, play ball, and maybe in a few years, if you're lucky, you earn your spot and maybe a little leverage. Maybe. Shedeur Sanders just vaporized that narrative on sight. He walked in not just as a quarterback, but as a brand entity, fully formed, fully operational, fully independent. He didn't need to be drafted first overall. He didn't need to prove himself by NFL standards. Because he already built his value off the field, and structured every deal around that value. That 3% Gatorade stake, that is not just a financial flex. That's a strategic nuke. That's someone walking into a room full of executives, not asking for a seat at the table, but building his own table and inviting them to take a seat. He turned down $60 million in guaranteed money. Let that sink in, because when an athlete, especially a rookie, says no to a massive check in exchange for long-term ownership, he's sending a message, not just to Gatorade, but to everyone, the leagues, the agents, the brands, the media. The message? I don't rent my worth. I own it. And the system is panicking. You can already feel the tremors. Agents who relied on traditional commission models are scrambling. Legal teams are re-examining nil clauses in contract structures. Brands are having closed-door meetings wondering how to attract future stars who will demand equity, not exposure. Because let's be real, Shedeur's not going to be the last. He's just the first to do it this well, this young and this loudly. And remember, this isn't just some marketing wunderkind running numbers behind the scenes. This is a quarterback. A 21-year-old rookie quarterback who is redefining the economics of professional sports without throwing a single touchdown. That stat alone, it's unreal. But again, performance isn't the product here. Presence is. And Shedeur knows exactly what that means. His visibility isn't just celebrity, it's currency. Every post, every interview, every appearance is a monetizable asset, and his deals recognize that. They're built to reward it. Nike didn't double his contract because of a perfect passer rating. They did it because the moment he stepped onto the field, the internet exploded. The jerseys flew off shelves. The clips went viral. The story sold itself. And they knew they weren't just betting on a player. They were investing in a media engine. You don't get that kind of valuation from talent alone. You get it from infrastructure. Prime equity isn't just a slogan. It's a legal, logistical, and commercial weapon. Think about it. No agents. No third-party licensing boards. No collective bargaining slicing off percentages before he even sees a check. Every dollar earned flows directly to him because he owns it all, his name, his image, his brand. Fully. Even that 50% profit share from jersey sales is a radical departure from the norm. Most players, they're lucky if they get a sliver. That money disappears into league cuts, team licensing, NFLPA agreements, and retail markups. By the time it hits a player's pocket, pennies. But Shedeur flipped the funnel. Instead of hoping for royalties, he re-engineered the pipeline. Jerseys are now one of his largest revenue streams. Not because fans are more loyal, but because he had the foresight to restructure the deal. And that's the scary part for the establishment. None of this is accidental. Every move is part of a larger architecture, an interconnected, self-reinforcing ecosystem where every deal strengthens the others. Nike drives jersey demand. Jersey popularity strengthens the case for Gatorade equity. Gatorade's corporate power amplifies the EA Sports partnership. EA boosts digital visibility, which supports AT&T, which loops right back into brand strength. This is not a collection of separate endorsements. This is a tech stack, a business lattice, a fully optimized, vertically integrated brand machine, and Shedeur's at the center. And then there's the barbecue sauce. Let's talk about that for a second, because you might be tempted to write it off as a gimmick. Another celeb food line. Another vanity project. Nope. This is a calculated, scalable consumer product. Formulated in-house. Distribution mapped. IP locked. Manufacturing controlled. Marketing embedded into content strategy and live activations. Shedeur's not just slapping his face on a label. He's structuring a food and beverage vertical. That's a completely different game. It's not about the sauce. It's about control. About proving that he can build enterprise-level infrastructure outside of football. About laying the groundwork for a post-career empire building while still in the league. And yes, while still in the league. Because that's the point. He's doing all of this now. Not after the Hall of Fame. Not after retirement. Not as a late career pivot. But as a rookie. And that's why analysts are already saying it. He's on track to become the youngest billionaire in NFL history. Not someday, not hypothetically, but actively. All because he dared to say no to the old way. And while the money is shocking, the bigger story here is the precedent. Because this is a cultural shift, a power shift, a redefinition of athlete value, away from what you do on the field and toward what you own off of it. For too long, black athletes have been the face of billion-dollar industries without owning a seat at the table. They've driven cultural value, media engagement, and product sales, while others profited. Shedeur's refusal to participate in that model isn't just smart, it's radical. And make no mistake, the ripple effects are real. Young athletes coming up through high school and college are watching this blueprint in real time, and they're learning. That draft number doesn't define your worth. Your agency does. Your infrastructure does. Shedeur isn't just winning deals. He's teaching a generation how to negotiate differently, how to think differently, how to stop being a marketing tool and start being a business. And that makes him a threat to every system that relies on athletes staying quiet, compliant, and dependent. He's not playing their game. He's building his own. So when you see headlines about a rookie with more endorsement money than some veterans make in their entire careers, don't get distracted by the dollar signs. Look at the architecture behind it. Look at the strategy. This isn't about fame. It's about freedom. And when we say Shedeur Sanders is changing the game, we mean it literally. Because after this, the game will never be the same. And just when you think the Shedeur Sanders story couldn't get any more disruptive, let's talk about why this kind of power move has rattled the entire professional sports economy to its core. Because this isn't just a clever rookie outmaneuvering legacy systems. It's a full-blown redefinition of what it means to be a professional athlete in 2026. And what Shedeur is doing, it threatens the very foundations of how leagues, agents, brands, and even unions have operated for decades. See, the traditional structure has always been about control, and not the athletes. From the moment a player signs a rookie contract, they're filtered through a network of rules, clauses, and marketing hierarchies designed to protect institutional profits. You become a licensed product. Your face, owned by the league. Your jersey, sold by someone else. Your name, monetized through third-party partnerships you don't even directly touch. And here comes Shedeur, torching that system on day one. With prime equity, he's carved out something unprecedented. Full retention of nil rights even at the pro level. That's basically unheard of. Because once you're in a league, the standard assumption is your likeness becomes league property. You sign and your commercial identity is distributed across team marketing funnels, union agreements, retail contracts. The works. But Shedeur said no. He legally retained it all. No sharing. No slicing up percentages. His image stays his, and so does the money it makes. And this isn't just a flex. It's a legal precedent. If more players start negotiating nil retention into their pro contracts, and believe me, they will, it fundamentally changes the economics of the NFL. It breaks the traditional endorsement model. It sidelines third-party agencies. It forces teams and leagues to come to the table differently. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The NFL, like most major sports leagues, has made billions monetizing player identity without giving players meaningful ownership of that value. Shedeur isn't just calling that out. He's removing himself from the equation entirely. And in doing so, he's pulling the curtain back for every rookie watching from the sidelines. It's the same story with jersey sales. Normally, a player gets paid cents on the dollar after the league, the team, the manufacturer, the distributor, and the NFLPA take their cuts. It's so normalized that players don't even question it. It's just how it is. But Shedeur walked in and said, how about I get 50% direct? Not after the markup, not filtered through the team store. Directly, that kind of move forces a reckoning. It says, if the demand is driven by my name, my hype, my story, then why is everyone else eating first? And here's where it gets even more revolutionary. His deals are interconnected. This isn't about stacking endorsements. This is about constructing a commercial flywheel, where every part of his brand feeds the others in real time. Nike gives him visibility, which boosts jersey sales. High jersey sales validate his cultural relevance, which makes the Gatorade equity smarter. The Gatorade stake brings boardroom credibility, which strengthens his position with EA and AT&T. The digital reach of those partnerships feeds the popularity of his food and merch brands. It's not a one-way stream. It's a loop. That's not athlete branding. That's corporate strategy. He's building something most executives don't figure out until their 40s, and he's doing it while still suiting up for training camp. And it's not built on speculation. The numbers are backing it up in real time. He's outperforming rookies in every measurable except on-field play, which makes the whole thing even more astonishing. Every deal, every partnership, every growth trigger he's activated is based on cultural performance, not football stats. Think about that. A visibility clause in his Nike deal doubled it to $250 million after one preseason game. Not because he threw 5 touchdowns. Not because he ran a 4.340, but because he moved the needle culturally. Because he's not just part of the story. He is the story. That's a paradigm shift. That's athlete as platform. And then you add in a recurring $75 million partnership with Brady. Not a one-time bag. Not a Super Bowl bonus. Recurring, annual, locked in. That's franchise-type money for a rookie. Because Brady, the brand, not just a man, sees Shedeur not as a temporary asset, but as a long-term ecosystem. And let's be honest, the ecosystem is working. EA Sports isn't just licensing his image for a video game. He's involved in co-development. He's shaping the product, sharing in the revenue. That's a long way from scanning a player's face and calling it a day. It shows us something we rarely get to see. A young black athlete asserting ownership in every facet of the business that profits from him. Not later. Not once he proves himself. But now. And it's making everyone deeply uncomfortable because it's working. And this isn't all theoretical. The ripple effects are already moving. Brands are rewriting clauses. Draft prospects are hiring legal teams earlier. Athletes are asking new questions in meetings. What's my cut? Who owns my likeness? Where does the money go? Because once you see someone break the matrix, you can't go back. Shedeur Sanders didn't just challenge the sports industry. He exposed it. He turned every under-the-table royalty structure, every hidden licensing cut, every exploitive contract clause into a neon red flag. And in doing so, he's giving young athletes something they've been denied for decades. A blueprint, not just to make money, but to build wealth. Not just to participate, but to own. This isn't about being flashy. It's about being foundational. About building something that lasts longer than any contract, any season, any hype cycle. And look, whether you love the guy or think he's biting off too much, the results speak louder than opinions. He's already changed the rules. The only question now is how many players will follow him through the door he just kicked open, because it's wide open. So yeah, Shedeur might still be listed as a rookie, but in reality, he's already playing in a completely different league. Drop a comment if you're as floored by all this as we are. Let us know which part of the Shedeur Sanders empire stunned you the most, and which other players you think could pull something like this off. Make sure to like, share, and hit that subscribe button, because the sports world is rewriting itself in real time, and we're here to cover every plot twist.